Things started to get worse and worse. And at that point, I didn't know what to do. Because he was already manipulating me, already telling me things, you know, that I believed. So guys, in an abusive relationship, they start manipulating you, telling you things, telling you don't have this, you don't have nobody. Like, look, you just got hit. Ain't nobody here for you but me. And they start making you feel like, some type of way, like, damn, you are right, there's nobody here but you. You know, they start making you feel that you're nobody. And the reason why they do this is to manipulate somebody. It's like they're telling you constantly, every day, you ain't shit, you ain't worth nothing, ain't nobody gonna want you after this, after I did this to you, and this and that. And at the time, you're so vulnerable because with everything's happened, you're already depressed, and them telling you that, it's like 10 times worse. So you start to believe them. And I started to believe him. And he started to tell me to change the way I looked. He wanted me to wear Jordans. He wanted me to dye my hair this certain color. So I did, because if I didn't, you know, I was gonna get hurt. And I was just tired of getting abused. So I was like, you know, I gotta do what he says. Because if I do what he says, he's not gonna hit me. But if I don't do what he says, he's gonna hit me. And at the time, guys, I was the skinniest. So I used to always weigh around 120, 125. Max was probably like 130. And when I was with him, I weighed 99 pounds. 99. I ended up dyeing black hair. I went from black hair to blonde hair just to make him happy, just so I won't get hurt. This is the other time where it got worse, was when I was at Whataburger and he was using my car, and I would get off at Whataburger around 3:30 in the morning, and I was calling him like, hey, come pick me up, like, where are you? He wasn't answering. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I didn't have anybody to come pick me up, so I had to sleep by Whataburger behind a bush and wait until it came. That night I felt alone, I felt scared, I didn't know what to do. Guys, he didn't come pick me up until I think it was 10 o'clock in the morning in my car, and was just like, I'm so sorry, I had to go see my mom. And it was all a lie. He was cheating while I was just there. In those moments, I was numb. I felt so numb after it. That night, actually, we went back to his house and his friends were there. And he told me, he was like, make us some cookies. And when the cookies were done, I was like, the cookies are done. And they were all playing their game. I'm like, okay, well, I already told you guys the cookies are done, whatever. So they came to go get the cookies like an hour later. And I had just left them out there. I was like, whatever. And they got hard. They got hard, and he did not like that. So when he took a bite of it, he was like, bitch, what the fuck, you can't cook. He threw that shit at me. And one of his bros, friends, whatever, was like, hey man, like, she tried, like, don't do that. And I just started crying. And when he did that, they both started fighting. Like, I need to go before it gets worse. So I grabbed my car keys, and he saw me, and he like grabbed my arm and was like, and where do you think you're fucking going? I'm like, I'm leaving, I need to go to my mom needs me, whatever. And he was like, you ain't going nowhere. So I ended up slipping out of his hand, and I just took off running to my car. And guys, at the time, he was the one using my car all the time. And when I tried to turn it on, it had no gas, guys. And I was just like, my luck. But I locked the damn doors. He was grabbing rocks, throwing them at my car. And I'm really surprised the rock didn't go through the window, whatever. Like, I ended up sleeping there in my car until the next morning because I was scared. Next morning, he comes out and he was like, can we talk? What else could I do? Like, I had to open the door. He said sorry, and he was like, he was very high, he didn't know what he was doing. I was like, you good? I was like, you good? It's okay. He was like, you love me still? And I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, you won't ever leave me right now? I was like, no. Guys, it was like every day was something new. Every day. Like, I felt like summer took forever to end. But yeah, the next day, he knew where my parents lived. He knew that my parents had guns. he knew that my dad made good money, just because I was telling him, I was telling him things like, oh yeah, my dad does this and that, you know, he has this and this, we did this weekend. And he was like, we're going to your house. I was like, why? I was like, we're going to your fucking house. And I just stayed there, and I'm like, I don't know what's gonna go down. I don't know what's gonna go down. So we went to the house, and he already had a gun on him. And I was so afraid, because I was like, if my dad's here, he's probably gonna shoot my dad. If my mom's here, he's probably gonna shoot my mom. Or if I don't do what he wants me to do, he's probably gonna shoot me, you know? So when we put into my house, there was nobody there, thank God. And he was like, open the door. I was like, for what? Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand. And like, he grabs his gun and was like, he looks at me and was like, open the door. And I'm just like, okay. Like, what else can I do if a guy is pointing the gun, like showing, like doing this, and it's like, open the door. Like, obviously that means if you don't open the door, you're gonna get shot. So I was like, okay, open the door. And he was like, I want you to bring me all your dad's guns. And I was like, well, I don't know where they're at. Like, I just started acting dumb. And he was just like, Nayeli, if you don't do what I'm fucking telling you to do, wait until we get back home. It's like, okay. And then, guys, we ended up stealing my dad's guns, my dad's safe, everything. So he was already making me steal from my parents. He was making me steal from my parents. And at that moment, I was like, would I prefer me getting hurt or my family getting hurt? And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather get hurt than my family. So that stuff happened. Everything. Like, we took money, we took their guns, and we left. And my dad ended up coming home, like, I think 2 hours later. And he realized that the house was destroyed. The house was destroyed. So he's calling the cops. He's calling my mom. And my mom kind of figured, like, it's Nayeli. I know it's Nayeli. Something happened. They did ask my dad if he wanted to press charges on me. And my dad was just like, no. It is what it is. It's guns. Like 2-3 days passed. And I couldn't anymore. I couldn't no more. I was on my way back from Whataburger. And he asked me to get him a drink. I think it was like the strawberry Fanta drink. Okay, well, we ran out, so we didn't have any, so I got him the orange Fanta. I went back to the car and I was like, hey babe, like, I bought you this, and they didn't have this, but I got you the orange one instead. Guys, I should have just never brought him a damn drink. But when I brought him the different type of drink, because it's like, you know, sorry they didn't have it, but hey, look, I got this. He grabbed the cup, and Whataburger cups are pretty big. He grabbed the cup, threw it at me, and it just spilled all over me. And then, like, he pushed my head against the car window. I instantly got a knot on my head. And then he just started hitting my chin. You're fucking dumb. Like, why? Like, this and that. Why do you do stupid shit? And, like, my head was hurting, guys. My head was hurting. And he took off really fast. And he was speeding so fast. And we ended up pulling up behind his gym. There was an alley back there. There was an alley. And I had my Whataburger lanyard, my Route 21 lanyard already on here, because my house keys were on there. And he was just telling me this bullshit. He got out the car. When he got out the car, like, I looked at him while he was walking out, all yelling and stuff. And I grabbed my lanyard. And guys, at that time I wasn't myself, so I grabbed the lanyard, trying to kill myself, trying to choke myself. But I couldn't. It wasn't working. When he saw that I was doing that, he ran back, banging on the door, open the door. Everything was just happening so fast. He was like, don't do that, I love you. I can't be here in this world without you. And I was just there like, I don't want to be here no more. This is what life is. If this is what love is, I don't want to be here anymore. So I ended up pushing him. I was like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm tired of you. I don't want to be with you. I'm tired of it. And I ran all the way down to the alley, and he was calling his, like, bros to come tell him, like, hey, she's about to kill herself. I don't know what to do. So I went all the way back to the alley, And again, I tried so hard. I tried so freaking hard, you guys, but I think God was at my side because it wasn't working. Like, it was not working. And I was already at the moment where I just didn't want to live anymore. I didn't know what else I could do, so I wouldn't be on this earth. Because I was tired, my body was exhausted. You know, like I had bruises everywhere, guys. I didn't have friends, I didn't have social media, I didn't have nobody to talk to but him. And the way he made me feel was like, you know. And that night, I remember that whole day I wasn't myself, depressed, taking out my anger on the people that I loved. Where he lived, there was like a lake. It was a lake, so I walked over there. I sat on like the cliff part area, and I sat there. And I was crying and crying and crying. And I was praying like, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Like, is it my fault that this and this? And guys, the moment that I was gonna jump off, this guy came out and saw me crying and was like, hey sweetie, what's wrong? And I'm like, I turned and I'm like, oh, nothing, like just sitting here. He was like, guy problems? And I was like, guy problems? And he was like, all right. And guys, he stayed there the whole night with me. The whole night. He was there the whole time. And like, I didn't know this man. Like, it was so crazy how he came when I was about to jump off and try to commit suicide. But he stayed there the whole time. I don't know what it was. It was God. If it wasn't for him, guys, I wouldn't be here. It's just crazy to me how I let it go that far to where I wanted to commit suicide twice. It was bad. Like, I didn't go into details because it was bad. You know, I think some things I need to keep to myself, but the fact that this happened, his friends were around us when it happened. They didn't help, they didn't do nothing, they just laughed while I'm sitting there crying like my eyes out. And it sucks, you know. It sucks that it happened to me, but I always tell myself it happened for a reason. But yeah, guys, the day I was gonna commit suicide, I was pregnant. I told him about it. And that's one reason why I wanted to commit suicide too, because he had hit me and punched my stomach several times and told me it wasn't his. That I was going around cheating, being a slut, being a hoe, things like that. Next morning I went to routine 1, back to work, and I remembered I was clocking in. I bent down to get the little iPads, and when I got up, there was just blood everywhere on my legs. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I'm pregnant, how do I, like, is this my period? Like, I was so confused. So my manager, she was pregnant too, and she was just like, Natalie, I think you just had a miscarriage. I was just like, a miscarriage? Like, what do you mean? And she knew what was going on, but she just didn't, you know, she didn't want to get involved. But she was like, Natalie, sometimes you have miscarriages, especially right now. You're under stress, you're around drugs, you're depressed, you know, things like that, like you're not eating. So that happened, and guys, I couldn't go to a doctor to go get checked because I was underage. My mom was gonna have to come with me. All those things were happening all at once. That Monday, the next Monday, you know, Saturday, Sunday went by. Monday, I go register for classes, and my mom, like, obviously she went with me, and at the time we were already moving to Houston. So my mom went to school with me and was registering us for school, and I was out of there. I just wanted to go back to his place, because if I wasn't back at his place in time for him to use my car, I was gonna get hit. So I was just like, they were all talking, my legs were like this, and I was just looking around like, come on. Like, I was in a hurry, and my aunt was there too, and like, you know, we got registered and everything, and my mom was like, hey, we gotta go take a physical. And mind you guys, my mind was not there. Like, now I would have been like, a physical, why? I'm not gonna be in athletics. But at that moment, my mind was somewhere else. I wanted to hurry up, and I was just like, a physical? Why do we need a physical? And she was like, well, you need a physical to get enrolled in classes. And I was like, okay, come on, like, we need to take the physical. Where do we take the physical? I was like, I'll drive my car, Mom, I'll follow you. And Mom was like, okay, follow me. Guys, my car wouldn't start. And it's crazy because things happen for a reason. God works in mysterious ways. But my car wasn't starting. My car wasn't starting. It never had problems till that day. I called my dad because my dad's a mechanic. I was like, Dad, why the fuck is it not starting? I need to go. I need to get this physical and I need to leave. I need to go to work. And my dad was like, well, I don't know, but after work, I'll go check it out. I'll just leave it there at the school. I'll go see what's wrong, but at the meantime, go with your mom. Your mom will drop you off at work. And I was like, no, I need to go, this and that. So I lied to my mom and said, Mom, Dad said I can use your truck to go to work. You can drive back with my aunt. And my mom was like, no, like, he did not say that. Why can't I drop you off at work? And guys, whatever. I ended up going to inside my mom's car, yelling at her, screaming at her, like, hurry the fuck up. I need to go somewhere. I need to be at work at this time. And we get into this place. Guys, I don't even remember how I looked or anything because I was so focused on him. And at the time, I think I was weighing 97 pounds. And my aunt was there. Like I said, she said, I look paler than I am now. Like, my skin didn't even look white, guys. They said my skin looked very, like, greenish. My hair looked very nasty, not brushed. I smelled disgusting. And guys, I'm not like that. I'm a very clean person. So they knew, like, my aunt was like, this is not Nayeli. Nayeli's always wearing her makeup. Nayeli's always having her hair done. My hair looked like hay. I had this dress. I didn't even have a bra on. I had bruises everywhere. They thought, like, I was telling them I got them from work. I look disgusting, guys. I look so disgusting. And I can't believe I let myself get like that. But shit happens. But anyways, guys. So we walked into this, like, big thing. And it looked like jail. But I still wasn't, like, I was like, whatever. I just need my damn physical, you know. And as soon as I sat down, the guys were like, no, they were like, okay, we're ready to admit you. I was gonna go into the little thing. They were like, you can't have phones or anything. And I was like, why can't I have phones? They were like, well, you have to leave them in this bucket. And I still didn't know what was going on, but my mom knew exactly where she brought me. And I was like, okay, I need to go to the restroom first. I went to the restroom to contact him to tell him, like, I'm gonna be late. And then there was, like, a brochure in the restroom that said Kingwood Pines Mental Institution. And when I read that, I was like, mind blown. I was like, what the fuck? What the hell did my mom just do? Why? I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not crazy. So I was calling him. I was like, hey, they're gonna put me in this and this and that. And he was yelling. He was like, well, bitch, get your ass over here. I don't care. You better find a way over here. I don't care if you have to walk. And I was over here on one side. I need to go over here, or, you know, or I don't want to stay here in this hospital or this mental institution. So I ended up getting out of the restroom, and I saw that the officers and my mom were talking. And I looked at my little sister, and I was like, I shook my head. I was like, why the fuck did you not tell me? And when they heard my voice, they were, like, walking towards me, and I took off running. They ended up locking the doors. I couldn't get out. And, like, they escorted me back into the little room. And I was looking at my little sister. I was like, how could you? Like, I trusted you. And my little sister was just looking at me like, I'm sorry. Like, you need help. So they admitted me back in there. And my mom and aunt were in the room with me. And I was like, Mom, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not crazy. I can't tell you what's going on, but I'm not crazy. Please, like, I was trying to convince her not to let me stay in there because I didn't want to stay in there. I was scared. And the nurse kept asking me questions, and she was like, are you pregnant? And this is when my mom found out I was pregnant. I said yes, but I had a miscarriage like 2, 3, 4 days ago. And my mom busted into tears, but I didn't care about that. they're like, do you know why you're in here? I'm like, no, like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I don't know why I'm in here. And my mom was just kind of telling them what I was doing, the signs. The last question that she asked was gonna determine if I was gonna stay there or just go home. She asked, have you had any suicidal thoughts? And guys, I looked at her and I looked at my mom, and I was gonna tell them no, guys, but something was telling me to speak, that I needed to speak now. And it was just God telling me to speak. And I told him, I'm like, yes, I had suicidal thoughts and I have tried to attempt it. And I saw like the look in my mom's face, like damn. And when I told her that, she was like, okay, sweetie. She signed her name whenever she went to the back. My mom was like, Natalie, can I give you a hug, please? And I haven't like hugged my mom like that. Like, I've just been yelling and screaming at her because I didn't know who to take it out, take my anger out. And I was like, yeah, I need a husband. I did this to help you. She said, I know what you're going through. I know you're getting abused. You don't want to speak. You know, you don't want to speak. And I was just like, Mom, I'm not crazy though. Like, I'm not crazy. I just need help in a different way. And my mom was crying and my aunt hugged me and was like, this isn't you. Like, you don't look like this. Like, you're always well groomed. You're always clean, this and that. Look how you look. I was crying, guys. Like, that was it. They admitted me in there. And I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. But yeah, like, if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here. You know, I thank her so much. Things happen for a reason. I'm not ashamed of what I went through. I don't regret anything I went through. It's just, you know, a lesson learned. It was, you know, it made me the person that I am today. And I thank God for it, because if it wasn't, I feel like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be me, you know, and I'm a whole different other person. But that is my story, guys. And my advice to you is, if you guys are going through this or know somebody who's going through this, please get them out of there. If they're afraid to seek help, you guys do it for them. Just like my mom, did it for me. And it's okay to talk to somebody, guys. I know after what I went through, I was talking to a therapist. It helped me a lot to open up, to make me realize certain things. It's hard going through that. It's scary, and you do feel like you're alone, but you're not alone. There's other people that go through this or that are going through that as we speak. So guys, if you have any questions, like, don't be afraid to DM me on any of my social medias to ask like for my advice or any tips. But yeah, guys, some tips that I do want to give you guys is, don't feel bad to let somebody go that's been there for you, if that makes sense. Like, I understand that this person has always done this, helped me out with this, but if that person is toxic, it's okay to leave. You know, it's not the end of the world. You might think like, damn, if they leave, like, it's over, I'm done, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. It's not. At that moment, it will feel like, you know, everybody's against you. It might feel like you're in a dark hole, things like that. But trust me when I say that's only temporary, because once that is over, once that little phase is over, you know, everything's gonna be better, because things happen for a reason. At the end of the day, if a person is causing you harm, rather if that's physically and mentally, verbally and stuff, you are not obligated to stay with them. Like, I understand it's hard. I've been there. I know, guys, it's hard to let people go, especially if you're used to them being with you 24/7, if you're used to that comfort from them. You're used to calling them in the middle of the night like, hey, guess what, this happened. But it's okay to leave. When it comes to abuse, abusers start to have this power over you. that it allows them to tap into your emotions and manipulate you in so many ways. So by the end of the day or by the end of the week, you believe everything they tell you because they already tapped into those emotions. They tapped into your head. So everything they say, you believe. Any type of abuser loves to use the words, I'm sorry, it was a mistake, it won't happen again. Like, they do that so you could feel vulnerable, you know? And then they start saying, well, you know, people make mistakes, right? And then you start thinking, well, yeah, you know? But no, not those type of mistakes. That was a choice, and that was a bad choice you made, you know? So, like I said, 1, get away, you know? Get away. 2, get help. Get the help you need. If that's, you know, talking to your mom, talking to your best friend, a support group, or a therapist. Me, myself, and I went to a psychologist, a shrink, a therapist, whatever you guys want to call them, and it helped me a lot. People are different. People might cope with, you know, talking to their best friend, or cope by writing everything down in a journal. Whatever helps you guys, just do it, but get the help. Another tip is allow yourself to feel all the emotions you are feeling. Allow yourself to feel depressed. Allow yourself to feel angry. Allow yourself to feel sad and hurt. All those emotions, just let your body feel them. And be able to forgive yourself, because that's what helps you grow. That's what helps you understand what happened, you know. And I know it's easy for people to say, oh, well, if I was in that situation, I would have left, or I would have hit him back. No, like, it's easier said than done, because at the end of the day, we were manipulated, so we were an easy access for them. They were able to manipulate us into doing things, so it's like we were an easy target for them. So that's why every time I tell my story, I tell people, no, you might think it's easy. You might think it's easy just to, you know, fight back, this and that. But until you're in that situation, until you're in the shoes that I was in, then come talk to me, because it's a different story. Another thing is to distance yourself from toxic people, guys. Like, now that I'm older, I understand what toxic people are like. So when I notice that, I'm just like, you know what? You stay over there, I'll stay over here. I don't want that energy with me. Like, I just want positive energies, things like that. Get away from toxic people. If you have to cut ties with people, just get away from those toxic people. Like I said, I went through a hard time. I was depressed. I felt worthless. I felt alone. I was asking myself, was it my fault? You know, was it my fault? Is it just me? Was I not enough? I felt like I couldn't be saved. It was just a process for me. I had to give myself time to think, feel those emotions I was feeling, talk about them to my therapist, because in the beginning I wasn't talking to her. Until after a while I finally opened up. I was able to open up to her. Never give second chances to any abuser, because they will, you know, they'll feed off of it. They'll start saying and thinking like, oh, she gave me a second chance for this. She'll keep giving me chances if I keep saying sorry, it was a mistake, things like that. So don't, guys. That he puts your hands on you or whatever, done. You're done. Like, you're worth more than that. You're like, your life is more precious than to put yourself in that situation. Anyways, guys, like, if you don't forgive yourself for the situation you went through, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be able to live your life without anger or hurt, because you haven't let it go. You know, you haven't been able to let it go, and you have to work it out within yourself in order to be able to let that stuff go. Last tip is to move on. Like I said, I know it might feel like you're dying, your heart, it might feel like somebody just ripped your heart out and things like that, but move on. The only thing I can tell you about that is live for yourself, not for anybody else. Live for yourself, because at the end of the day, you came here in this world alone and you're gonna die alone. Therefore, live for yourself. Be the best version of yourself as you can be. The best revenge is to glow, to be happy, and to finally say, I made it by myself. I did it without him, you know? I was able, like at that moment I was like, I'm gonna die without him, this and that. And look at me now. I have so much more, you guys. Like I said, it's gonna feel like you're dying, but trust me, you're not. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Remember that. And just move on. Just move on. Because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Remember that. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And don't forget to like, comment down below, and subscribe to your girl's channel. See you guys in the next video. Bye!